Hi, guys, I'm Elephant. The anime I want to share today is called Grand Blue. Trust me, it's definitely an anime that will make you laugh. Our male protagonist, Iori, has just arrived at his uncle's diving shop when he sees a group of muscular men competing for their muscles. They are not only half naked but also show great interest in Iori. Iori is so scared that he wants to escape but is chased by the men. I guess the story comes to its climax at this moment. Iori is a freshman in the Department of Mechanics. In order to facilitate schooling, Iori temporarily stays at his uncle's house. His uncle runs a diving shop called Grand Blue, which is a shop with a view of the sea. Iori has previously lived inland and has little access to the sea. After coming to this seaside town, he is full of expectations for his future life. At this time, Iori sees a sexy beauty on the beach and feels very familiar. Unfortunately, before he can figure out if they know each other, he is called away by his uncle. Iori walks into the store and sees two undressed macho men, Shinji and Ryujiro. They are Iori's seniors and want to take the opportunity to woo him to join the diving club. Iori has never seen such a scene, and he takes them as perverts and runs away desperately. But Iori's physical strength is not as good as that of these two strong seniors, and he is forcibly taken back to the store. Ryujiro explains that they want to decide who would prepare the diving supplies by stripping and finger guessing. Iori accepts the explanation, and prepares the supplies with Ryujiro. Ryujiro asks Iori if he is interested in diving. Iori thinks so, but he can't swim and doesn't want to try it. Ryujiro is somehow disappointed by Iori's answer. He believes that as long as he is interested, he should bravely give it a shot. After that, Iori meets his cousin, Nanika. With her reminder, Iori learns the identity of the sexy beauty, cousin Chisa. After returning home, Iori discovers that Shinji and Ryujiro have prepared a welcome party for him. Iori isn't good at drinking and becomes another person after drinking. Chisa sees Iori's drunken appearance and disgusts with him. Since Iori is going to school at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, he offers to rest early. Both Shinji and Ryujiro think it is too soon, and they claim to drop Iori off at school on time and take him to another place for a drink. The next morning, when Iori wakes up, he finds himself sleeping in front of the school, wearing only a pair of shorts, showing up in front of everyone in a hangover state on the first day of school, which seems the beginning of Iori's hazy college life. Iori and Chisa are classmates. Iori can't find his way home and begs Chisa to take him home. Chisa feels too humiliated to be with Iori, who is wearing only shorts, and turns him down. Iori refuses to give up and asks Chisa to take off her coat. At this time, the passing security guard hears Iori forcing Chisa to undress. He thinks that Iori is harassing girls and wants to arrest him. To avoid being caught by the security guards, Iori decides to borrow clothes from Ryujiro. Ryujiro is busy recruiting new people for the club. Ryujiro will agree to lend him the clothes if Iori can help him recruit a new member. Then, Iori meets his classmate, Kohei, at the event. Kohei's dream is to join a harem club, but there is no such club at school. Iori gently comforts Kohei and lies to him about taking him to make his dream come true. Led by Iori, Kohei comes to the diving club. Upon seeing Shinji and Ryujiro, Kohei realizes that he has been tricked by Iori. The members of the diving club spend the rest of their time drinking apart from diving. Iori and Kohei want to leave the club, but he can't beat Shinji and Ryujiro. Just as they blame each other, Shinji proposes a game of Grimace. Everyone takes a sip of booze, and whoever spews it out first loses. There is no winner in this match, and both Iori and Kohei are amused by each other and drink glass after glass. In the new episode, Iori is criticized by Nanika for not going home to sleep for 3 days. Iori feels so guilty that he refuses to attend tonight's drinking party. However, after hearing that the female college students would appear at the drinking party, Iori changes his mind. He kneels and asks Nanika to let him attend the party, but is refused. Ryujiro advises Iori to start by packing. If he could prove that he is a mature and independent man, Nanika might agree to his request. To help Iori, Shinji and Ryujiro take over the task of decorating Iori's room. But when Iori takes Nanika to visit the room, they see a room full of adult magazines. Ryujiro explains that if his parents find their son reading an adult magazine, they will think that their son has grown up. Iori cannot accept it. He regrets having them decorate the room and urges them to leave. At this time, Shinji takes out a disc and says that it is an enrollment gift for Iori. Iori realizes that this is a wonderful adult anime and excitedly accepts it. Chisa finds out that Iori is watching adult anime and gets pissed off. Shinji and Ryujiro then enlist Kohei to help decorate the room. Kohei is an avid ACGN enthusiast who puts a lot of anime goddesses in his room. Iori can't accept Kohei's arrangement, desperately stating that he wants a room that is the exact opposite of the anime goddess. Kohei misunderstands Iori and hurriedly prepares gear-related anime peripherals for him. After seeing the situation in the room, Iori flies into a rage. At this time, Nanika happens to come to Iori's room. Although Iori wouldn't let her in, she hears the sounds of gay anime. Nanika doesn't expect Iori to be into gay anime and is shocked. Eventually, Iori decides to decorate the room himself. Considering that Nanika likes Chisa very much, he fills his room with pictures of Chisa. Chisa thinks Iori's behavior is too perverted and throws him into a small, shabby room. During this period, what makes Iori feel saddest is that tonight's drinking party is postponed. A few days later, the diving club arrange for a swimming practice for the new members. Shinji believes that swimming technique is not important. The key is to get used to the feeling of being underwater. Chisa, as the only female member, is not very comfortable wearing a swimsuit in front of the boys. She puts on her outwear and comes to the pool and is startled by Iori since he is not wearing shorts. Iori is training for swimming. He is so afraid of the water that he can only take off his shorts and force himself to take the pool as a bathhouse. But Chisa doesn't buy it and is convinced that he is a pervert. Shinji lets Iori enjoy the underwater fun. Iori loses interest in diving at the thought of seeing them underwater without pants. Chisa hears Iori's complaint. Out of her love of diving, she wants to help Iori discover the charm of diving. At Chisa's request, Nanika takes Iori to the aquarium. She tells Iori that he will find the water not just scary but something beyond that. This underwater world that frightens Iori is actually a very beautiful place. Under their influence, Iori gradually becomes interested in diving. He appreciates Chisa for her help and gives her the aquarium souvenir. After that, Iori suddenly dreams of wearing women's clothes, but as soon as he wakes up from a nightmare, he discovers that Shinji and Ryujiro have sent a women's outfit. Today they will start learning to dive. Shinji reminds them that diving is expensive, and there's a beauty pageant for males. Iori and Kohei need to compete for the club and win the prize. Diving practice officially begins. Iori has been unable to breathe properly in the water because of fear. Ryujiro carefully explains the do's and don'ts of diving, allowing Iori to try it boldly. No matter what happens, he will go down and save him. Under Ryujiro's guidance, Iori feels the charm of diving for the first time. Iori is immersed in joy and accidentally drinks too much. When he wakes up, a beautiful girl is lying next to him. The girl is Azusa, and she is a student at the women's university next door. Because she is too enthusiastic, neither Shinji nor Ryujiro treats her as a girl. Before going out, Shinji and Ryujiro assign a task. They ask Iori and Kohei to convince Chisa to participate in the women's beauty pageant. As long as Chisa is willing to participate, Iori and Kohei will no longer have to compete in the men's beauty pageant. In order not to participate in the men's beauty pageant, Iori and Kohei kneel and beg Chisa. They all agree that if Chisa participates, she would win. Chisa is not interested in the pageant and declines their request. Azusa has always thought it is a blessing to be able to participate in beauty pageants and wonders why Chisa doesn't want to participate. She likes Iori and Kohei and wants to convince Chisa to participate. Chisa is moved by what she says, but she doesn't want to be on stage alone and asks Iori and Kohei to attend together. Iori and Kohei never expected that they would eventually have to wear women's clothing. On the day of the pageant, Chisa takes to the stage wearing a beautiful slip dress, but for some reason, she looks very serious. Kohei, worried that Chisa would lose the election, proposes to lift her skirt to make Chisa show a shy expression. Iori and Kohei agree, and they deliberately throw stones on the stage to lift Chisa's dress. Chisa is so angry that she forces Iori to drink 2 liters of liquor before forgiving him. Later, Iori and Kohei meet a drunken girl. The girl's name is Aina, and she is always ridiculed by people around her because her makeup is too funny. What makes her feel worst is that Kudu, the president of the tennis club she has a crush on, has also been laughing at her behind her back. Iori comforts Aina that everyone laughs at others and is ridiculed by others. To cheer Aina up, he takes her to the men's beauty pageant. Since Kudu is popular in the competition, Kohei deliberately mentions his name when confessing his feelings. Kohei hopes that the purple-haired girl in the audience will accept his confession instead of dating Kudu. Enraged by Kohei, Kudu immediately asks the purple-haired girl for a relationship, but what he doesn't know is that the purple-haired girl is disguised by Iori. Iori shows his boy look after accepting Kudu. Kudu is ridiculed by everyone for choosing Iori. Aina thanks them for their act of avenging her. After the competition, Chisa and Iori win the beauty pageant. Chisa isn't happy to win. She competes for Iori, but Iori is too busy helping other girls and ignores her. To punish Iori, Chisa deliberately declares him her boyfriend at the awards ceremony. The audience feels that Iori doesn't deserve a girl like Chisa and shouts that they are going to kill Iori. Because of Chisa's declaration, Iori receives several threatening letters asking him to break up with Chisa. Kohei feels that staying with Iori is very dangerous and wants to dissociate himself from him. Iori doesn't want to be hated alone and deliberately announces that Kohei is in a relationship with Azusa. Immediately afterward, Iori and Kohei become the public enemies of the boys in the school. In order to dispel the boys' resentment, Iori and Kohei decide to arrange a meetup event. Iori doesn't know girls and hopes that Azusa can help him organize the meetup event. Azusa accepts Iori's request, but she asks him to continue playing the role of Chisa's boyfriend. After Iori agrees, Azusa introduces Aina to them. Aina removes her funny makeup and turns into a very cute girl with short hair. She takes over the task of organizing the meetup event and decides to join the diving club. Later, Iori and Kohei take two boys to the meetup event location. Although Aina and the girls wear funny makeup, one of the boys, Shinichiro, is not deterred by them and still tries to find a girlfriend. Iori thinks Shinichiro is very courageous and decides to help him win the girls' love. But when Iori sees the girls after removing their makeup, he is fascinated by these beauties and begins to impress the girls. Kohei is very upset with Iori's behavior and says that he has a girlfriend. Luckily, Aina has long known about Iori's girlfriend and doesn't push it. After the meetup event, the girls leave delightfully. They think the boys are funny, like the monkeys in the zoo. Iori hears their comments and gets furious, but what he doesn't know is that Aina has a crush on him. A week later, Aina officially joins the diving club. She never expected that everyone in the community has perverted attributes. Because today is Aina's welcome party, she asks everyone to get dressed, but Aina underestimates how perverted the members of the community are. When she goes out to buy beer, they start stripping again. Aina can't convince them and is helpless. After a brief break, Ryujiro talks about his diving license. Shinji guesses that Iori and Kohei have not read the diving textbook and decides to test their sign language. Iori and Kohei can't read his gestures and misinterpret them. Because the diving license exam is so important, they have to study it according to the diving textbook carefully. In the following diving training, Iori and Chisa are placed in the same group. Chisa is very serious about diving. She knows that Iori is not good at the water and has been guiding him earnestly. As diving training ends, Iori and Chisa reconcile. In the new episode, Iori hosts the male classmates who come to visit his uncle's house. They hear about Iori and Chisa's cohabitation and want to see if that is true. During this time, Shinichiro sees Nanika by the sea and falls in love with her at first sight. Just as he is about to go to the beach to talk to Nanika, he meets two men without clothes on. Shinichiro feels lashed out and runs back crying. Iori and Kohei guess that he meets Shinji and Ryujiro and are very empathetic to Shinichiro's agony. At this time, Chisa comes to Iori's room. After seeing Chisa, the male classmates are determined that they are really living together and beat Iori hard. After that, the diving club receives a match invitation from the tennis club. Kudo is so upset about being humiliated at the pageant that he proposes a tennis doubles match. Shinji and Ryujiro decide to take their members to the competition for the good award money. On the day of the game, Kudo does not recognize Aina after removing her makeup and expresses his affection to her. Shinji and Ryujiro are not good at playing tennis, but they win their first match with their strong physical strength. Fearing that the situation is not going his way, Kudo fuddles the macho men of the diving club with alcohol. In the final match, Iori and Kohei partner to compete. Because Kohei is so weak, Iori feels pressured. In order to defeat Kudo, Iori attacks Kohei. After Kohei falls, Shinji and Ryujiro take their place to compete. In front of absolute strength, Kudo loses the match. After the award money arrives, Shinji and Ryujiro decide to take the members to Okinawa to lodging together. But the award money is only enough to cover the transportation expenses, and they have to work part-time to earn other expenses. To earn money, Iori and Kohei accept a part-time job arranged by Shinji, but after their hard physical work, they eat at the restaurant and spend all their money. Because they can't cope with long hours of manual labor, Azusa takes them to the bar where Ryujiro works at. After getting permission from the bar owner, Iori and Kohei experience the job of being bartenders. After their part-time jobs, Iori and Kohei go to Shinichiro's house. In their major, there are not many girls, and most of the boys have not been able to find a girlfriend. At this moment, they accidentally learn that a male classmate named Yu is in a relationship with a girl. Iori thinks about his experience of being beaten up because of rumors of his relationship and decides to ruin the relationship. They arrive at Yu's doorstep. Because Yu refuses to open the door, they stuff a lot of adult videos into his room. Yu ignores them and turns off all the lights in the room. Then, Iori deliberately sends Yu a lot of intimate text messages. Yu explains to his girlfriend that it is a prank by a friend and that there are no female friends around him at all. After the second plan fails, Kohei mimics the female voice and pretends to be the other girl. His girlfriend thought that Yu is a scumbag and breaks up with him. And Yu is indeed an asshole. When the girlfriend proposes to break up, the first thing Yu asks from her is to introduce more girls for him. After being beaten by his girlfriend, Yu is single again. The boys are desperate to socialize with the girls and ask Iori to organize another meetup event. Since the boys offer a high remuneration, Iori agrees to their request to let Chisa join the meetup event. Iori gathers the members of the club and proposes to play the king game once. As long as he can become the king, he can command Chisa. Although they win the competition, Kohei gets Chisa's serial number wrong and their wish falls. Iori and Kohei have no other ways to earn money and continue to work. Led by Azusa, they come to the meetup event to keep order. The girls also wear sexy costumes to attract popularity for the event. After the event, they earn enough money for their trip and are looking forward to their upcoming training camp days. A week later, the members of the diving club arrive in Okinawa. Their hotel has a private beach where they can do whatever they want, even if they don't wear shorts. But Aina doesn't want to see them naked and takes them to the public beach. The first day is the time for members to relax, and from the second day they will take diving knowledge exams and carry out underwater training. Because there are not enough beds in the boys' rooms, Azusa and Nanika take Iori to their room. Iori is surrounded by two beautiful girls. He is so excited that he stays up all night. He asks Kohei for help but doesn't get a reply. Iori has to stay up late to learn diving theories since he can't fall asleep. After a night of hard work, Iori successfully passes the diving knowledge test. Next, it's time for the underwater workout. Each of them is given a residual pressure gauge. This is used to monitor the amount of air in the oxygen cylinder, and when the residual pressure drops to 60, they must come out from the water as soon as possible. Aina's residual pressure soon drops to 60, but she knows that everyone else is enjoying going under the water and doesn't know if she should tell the truth. While Aina hesitates, Iori sees through her. The expression in Lori's eyes gives Aina a hint to let her tell the accurate residual pressure. Upon returning to land, Iori reminds Aina that lying underwater is dangerous. Even if she doesn't want to hold up everyone, she can't lie. In order to unravel Aina, Iori hands her over to the seniors of the club. Azusa tells Aina that it's normal for beginners to consume air quickly. As a senior, she will help Aina as much as possible. Iori is thrilled that Aina finally fits in the diving club. That's when Nanika tells him the bad news. As things stand, Iori could be the only one who fails. Iori feels very humiliated. He doesn't want others to discover the fact that he is weak, and plans to secretly conduct diving training. After that, the protagonists drive to a nearby market. Shinji asks everyone to prepare a dish, and Iori is going to buy a poisonous fish. His purpose is to poison others to faint so that he can secretly go on diving training. That's when Iori's plan is overheard by Kohei. Kohei and Iori are a couple of wrongdoers who can quarrel over everything. Iori is terrified of being ridiculed by Kohei for not getting his diving license. To avoid Kohei and Aina, Iori decides to turn to Chisa for help. Because they talk to each other very close, Aina misunderstands that they are in a relationship. When Aina discovers that Chisa is secretly meeting with Iori, she angrily expresses her grievance. She doesn't know what Iori is hiding and begs him to give her an answer. After learning that Iori is training in diving, Aina decides to stay and help him. Iori fails because he can't drain the water out of the diving mask. Chisa and Aina team up to kick him into the pool, asking him to get adapted as quickly as possible. This scene is seen by a passerby. He thinks that they are doing something strange and calls the police. Iori immerses himself in diving training and didn't notice any abnormality around him. He realizes that he is still afraid of water. To get relaxed, he takes off his shorts and forces himself to take the pool as a bathhouse. He then sends Chisa and Aina back to sleep and stays alone in the pool. At this time, the police come to patrol the hotel. Iori is not wearing shorts, and he is afraid of being treated as a weirdo and has to hide in the water. After that, Iori has a cold and is unable to take the diving exam. In order to get Iori recovered as soon as possible, Azusa stays to take care of him. Being bored at home, Azusa comes up with the idea of having an intimate interaction with Iori. Iori, though flipped, turns Azusa's offer down. At this point, Kohei and Aina pass the exam and get their diving licenses. When they get home, Iori and Azusa are asleep. Then, the protagonists come to another sea area. Iori cannot go further than 17 meters underwater because he does not have a diving license, and can only stay with tourists who come to experience diving. Chisa wants to comfort Iori, but Iori tells Chisa that he enjoys the voyage very much. Although it is a pity that he only participates in experiential diving, he believes that he will be able to obtain the diving license in the future. At the end of the training camp days, Shinji and Ryujiro hold a drinking event. During this time, they finish up all the booze and ask Aina to go out to buy more. Aina can't hold the bottles and calls Iori for help. Iori, accustomed to life without clothes on, is caught by the police on the road. Aina scolds Iori for not putting a top on. Aina drinks some because she is mad. She can't hold her liquor and becomes a different person when she gets drunk, and tears Iori and Kohei's shorts with her own hands. At the end of the story, the protagonists get on the return plane. They take a lot of photos during their stay and have wonderful memory. Although the current club life is not what they have imagined, they have all gained happiness in the diving club. This is the end of the anime. Grand Blue is quite good with the punchlines, and the plot is soothing with the successful image of the protagonist, Iori. I think the best part of the show is the plot where Iori helps Aina get revenge on Kudu. This is also the charm of Grand Blue. It involves a lot of teenage stories, which allow me to reflect on my school days when I watch it. Do you have the same feelings as I do? Give me a like if you feel the same and leave a message, 1, in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and thumb up for me so more people can see my channel. Your supports mean a lot to me to keep updating. Bye.